So J.J. Abrams made The Force Awakens. Rian Johnson then said none of that matters, retcon most of it with The Last Jedi, and initially Colin Trevorrow was in line to direct the third installment. But he left the project due to creative differences, leading to Abrams returning. But this resulted in a complete mess. It was clear he and Johnson both had conflicting visions for this trilogy and had next to no communication throughout. This is the film that was so hated, people began to reevaluate the prequels entirely and made them think, was Attack of the Clones really that bad? Yes, but that's besides the point. The movie united fans and haters of The Last Jedi to come together and give this one a massive middle finger. The film brings back Emperor Palpatine, and it was in the trailer, but then it's just revealed in the opening crawl. This huge return of a character who's been dead for 30 years, and they just fart it out right at the start in text form. And then he's introduced in the first scene. Don't get me wrong, Ian McDiarmid is fantastic and falls back into this role perfectly. His voice is still as ominous as ever, and he looks great, but this movie was clearly in panic mode, and I can't necessarily blame Abrams entirely for this. The Force Awakens had issues, but people generally enjoyed it and it had great ideas to run with. The Last Jedi then nixed a good chunk of them. It ruined all of Finn's momentum as a character, it ruined Rey's backstory that was clearly going somewhere, it ruined Luke's entire character, it gave us ancient Jedi texts and then destroyed them. It was doomed from the beginning when that's the second film of a damn trilogy. So Abrams clearly panicked because this movie really drives the nostalgia factor home. I had issues with the previous two movies just banking on nostalgia, but this one goes all out. They bring back the Emperor, they bring back Lando for no reason. Yeah, they couldn't think of a way for him to be in The Last Jedi even though a character was handed to them, but here he's pointless. They go back to Endor, they have the original Death Star, they show Ewoks, Han is back, they have voices of all the past Jedi, they bring James Earl Jones back again. Just the look of it, this movie wants to be Return of the Jedi so bad. Why are these movies so afraid of looking to the future and trying something new? Even when they're not stealing from the past movies in their own franchise, they just use overdone cliches that have been done a million times.
What could you give me?
Everything. Weak. Like your parents. They don't have long. I am all the Sith.
And I am all the Jedi.
They even have a fucking laser in the sky, for crying out loud! There is nothing new. We are 3 films in and every single one has recycled material from the originals. Palpatine offers Kylo his own empire, they have to wipe C-3PO's memory, Rey's parents give her up to protect her from her dangerous relative who ends up having them killed because that's not a cliche. We get a twist of the hero's parentage, and a big fight in the throne room with lightning. This has all been done before! Why make an entire trilogy when you've got nothing new to say?
Does anyone copy?
These screenwriters. Palpatine is just thrown in randomly, and much like Darth Maul in Solo, there's no explanation as to how he's alive. Well, no, actually we get...
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
That's it. I mean, I think writing on both sides is sloppy. Darth Maul holding on to hate is just ridiculous. But at least you could argue, well, he got his legs cut off. Maybe he could survive that. But how is Palpatine back? It just makes the entire ending of Return of the Jedi pointless. I just refuse to get invested in any character's death in this franchise anymore. They mean nothing. Darth Maul stays alive because of hate. Palpatine comes back because he feels like it. Rose sacrifices herself and is okay. Leia dies in space but gets better. None of these mean anything anymore. The movie was a way to try to fix their mistakes from The Last Jedi, but Abrams clearly didn't learn from Johnson because he does the same thing again. The Last Jedi, Luke wanted to be hidden but for some reason left a map to his whereabouts. Well, here, Palpatine wants to be hidden but leaves wayfinders to his whereabouts. Why do they keep doing this? And it's actually a compass. Yes, a compass in a Star Wars movie. Star Wars is ripping off Pirates of the Caribbean. The film is in such a rush. Kylo Ren slaughters a bunch of randoms, which looks cool, but then he grabs the wayfinder that he somehow knows is here, wherever here is. He finds Palpatine, who could have just communicated with him via the Force, but shh, who then orders him to kill Rey, which makes no sense because later he wants Rey to replace him as Emperor.
I never wanted you dead.
But then he changes his mind in 2 minutes and tries to kill her. What the hell? How? He claims he just wanted to get her there, but what would he have done if Kylo actually did kill her? This is the worst villain ever! There's also a subplot of a spy in the First Order, which is so pointless. I mean, considering how powerful Kylo is, how does he not sense who it is? It's literally only in the movie because the gang head onto Ren's ship and he helps them escape again. That's it. It then ends, he dies, and nothing has changed. The movie also randomly inserts conflict between Finn and Poe. Like before, they have nothing for these characters to do. Finn is so wasted. In The Force Awakens, he had so much potential and they completely nixed it entirely. I feel so sorry for John Boyega, and he even felt this way too. He spends most of the film trying to be in the film.
I need to go alone.
Yeah, along with friends.
It's too dangerous, Finn.
We go together.
But it's weird because he seems to be the only one actively trying to keep the plot moving.
I've never seen anything like this.
I've never seen so few Wayfinders.
Other times he just stares on and wishes he was in the plot.
Looks like someone treated him badly.
Hell, even Poe forgets he's in the movie.
Finn, you seeing this?
Finn didn't board the lander.
They're still on that command ship?
But for no reason, he and Poe just start arguing for most of it, and it doesn't even make any sense.
Light speed skipping! How do you know how to do that?
He's a pilot! He's been a pilot for 3 films! In fact, most of the movie, Finn is just asking him how he knows how to do the things that we've seen him constantly do.
How do you know how to do that?
And then they're just buddies again randomly. I'm sure glad we wasted all this time on that.
Oh, they fly now!
They fly now?
You were a stormtrooper. Surely you knew about this technology. In fact, are we forgetting about Boba Fett? He had a jetpack 30 years ago. This is nothing new. And despite The Last Jedi somewhat fixing Rey by making her struggle not be perfect, she's perfect again. She runs this entire obstacle course completely blindfolded. Alright, she does briefly struggle against this Pokeball and she gets her ass kicked by Palpatine, but she still somehow survives, so it doesn't count. She now has Jesus healing ability. She can stop ships with a bare hand. What can't she do other than make this movie good? And the film also continues the trend of making it sound more like a Marvel film. Thanks, Disney.
He can't beat us every time.
And apparently he does.
How does he do it?
This guy right here, it's because he cheats.
I'm kidding.
Oh, come on, take your
You're
turn.
250
You're
years
taking
old.
forever.
Of course
That's
you're
cheating.
better
That's why we
than
think you're
us.
cheating.
Don't worry.
We're not going to turn it off.
He's cheating.
Definitely.
George! This is it! We need you to go hard on this one! I want you to write the biggest load of fucking dog shit you've ever written! They wanted a trilogy, we'll give them a fucking trilogy!
Somehow Palpatine returned.
You can't stop saying what you did to your father.
I'm the spy.
It doesn't matter how shit it is, they're still gonna watch the next one anyway!
It's the Death Star. It's a bad place.
I'm not Leia. That's for damn sure.
You write it! You write that shit!
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Yes! Good! Good!
I don't care if you win. I need Kylo Ren to lose.
What the hatred feeds through your fingertips!
Now that I think about it, how is Palpatine not considered a myth? I mean, in The Force Awakens, they all thought that Luke was a myth, which made no sense anyway because Leia was walking around, so why wouldn't her brother be real? But they also knew that Darth Vader existed. So just to clarify, Darth Vader, real. Emperor, real. But the guy who single-handedly took them down, he's a myth.
Dark science. Cloning. Secrets only the Sith knew.
So why isn't Darth Vader back? Or Snoke? Or Dooku? Don't care! Darkseid can bring anyone back, so who cares about decapitation? If Palpatine can come back, so can anyone.
I know how to get to Exegol. Tell me. Luke searched for it for a long time. He nearly found it.
So Luke gave up fighting for the Jedi, moved to the island, wanted the Jedi to become extinct, gave up, retired, wanted to die alone, but still took the time to somehow set up a map to try to find an emperor who died 30 years earlier. Adults wrote this script. But Kelly Marie Tran got the Jar Jar Binks treatment. Due to the bad reception of her in the last movie, her role was significantly cut down in this one, and she was replaced with this woman, who is basically if Finn was a female. She has literally the exact same backstory.
I was TZ-1719, Stormtrooper.
FN2187.
But no personality to back it up. She is a blank sheet of paper. But They never get together. Yeah, Finn and Rose are split up now, and it's weird because they never actually mention their relationship at all. They went from sacrificing themselves for each other out of love to being just friends. And then after nearly 2 hours of them barely communicating, she hesitates when it comes to leaving him behind, just to remind you that they were in fact a thing. And then this woman's introduced, so you think, it's the new love interest. But no, so what's the point of her being here? Lando talks to her and it comes across as creepy flirting, but according to the novelization, it's supposed to be his daughter. Though another idea was that she was going to be Finn's sister. Why is everyone related? How fucking big is this galaxy? There's also no unpredictability in this film. You can tell what's going to happen because it's either a cliche, been done before, or easy to telegraph.
There's so much I want to tell you. Tell me when you get back.
So she's dead.
Leia needs pilots, General.
My flying days are long gone.
So he'll be back. Hell, they've copied all the other movies, so I'm sure we won't suspect the redemption story of the bad guy turning good who then dies. Oh shit, look what happened.
I'm Rey.
She would be honored to know your family name too.
I don't have one.
Rey Solo. Basically, they have to find the Wayfinder to find Palpatine, but to find the Wayfinder, they need to find a dagger with an inscription of the location. But C-3PO is the only one who can read it, but his system disallows him translating it, so they have to get someone to enter his memory, which also wipes it, and then they have to go to get the Wayfinder, but hold the dagger up by the ocean in a very specific position to find where it is. Is this Star Wars or Legend of Zelda? They go to B-Tech Tatooine, where Kylo connects to Rey again and somehow grabs her necklace. These powers are so inconsistent. Later on they're fighting and he can't see where she is, even though she is holding the dagger! The dagger he has in his ship! But he doesn't figure out where she is until she knocks Vader's helmet over. Doesn't make any sense for the droids to go with them either. They end up needing C-3PO, but that was pure luck. But like before, they managed to sneak in a real recording of Anthony Daniels on set.
Will this agony ever end?
And he is still really funny.
Rey! Finn!
You didn't say my name, sir, but I'm alright.
Although when his memory gets wiped, they treat it like this big emotional moment. He soaks it up before forgetting who they all are, but not only has he done this before, but he gets the memory back in the very same movie. It's pointless! And the excuse they give us is bullshit.
Doesn't R2 back up your memory?
Oh, please. R2 storage units are famously unreliable.
Just kidding. Look at this. It looks more like the fucking Looney Tunes. It also starts an annoying subplot with Finn trying to tell Rey something, and yeah, he chooses to say it first whilst going down quicksand.
Rey, I never told you when!
He then keeps putting it off and says he wants to tell her when Poe isn't around, but he never does. He has plenty of opportunities to tell her, but he doesn't, and then the movie just ends. Apparently this is him trying to tell her that he's now Force sensitive. Not only does this make no sense, because apparently it would have to be in his bloodline, but there's been no indication beforehand that he has the Force. Now in this movie he does imply it several times, but it's so vague it just comes across as terrible dialogue.
It wasn't a decision, really. It was like
An instinct. Feeling.
The nav signal is coming from that command ship. That's our drop zone.
how do you know?
A feeling.
Towards the end, Rey dies temporarily and Finn can sense it. But furthermore, if he has the Force, why doesn't he ever try to use it? There's so many times in this film where he could help out, but he doesn't. He just stands around wasting oxygen. As explained, Rey manages to heal a snake, and I'm not entirely opposed to this. It's believed Obi-Wan used the Force to heal Luke in A New Hope. Palpatine used it to heal Anakin. But my issue is, where or how did Rey learn this? It's just pulled out of her ass and never explained.
I just transferred a bit of life. Force energy from me to him.
Excellent. Now, do you mind telling us how the fuck you did that? Later on, she manages to heal Kylo and then he resurrects her. Where did he learn this? Is this a Disney princess movie that you just wish for something hard enough and it comes true? There's another side quest which infuriates me so much because it could have been something so good. Chewie gets kidnapped with the dagger, Kylo shows up and crashes and somehow survives, and he and Rey force fight for the ship. This is an insane scene, and she accidentally blows it up. This could have been a great arc for the character because she now believes she murdered her friend with her own hands and is a danger to everyone. This could have made her character work so much better. But just 4 minutes later, just 4 minutes, the audience see that Chewie is fine and he's alive. And 10 minutes after that, Rey senses that he's alive. No clue how she didn't sense this before, but alright. That is 14 minutes from her believing she murdered her friend to, oh no way, I didn't, psych. They could have done so much with this. Hell, I'd be okay if they actually killed Chewie off for real. None of us would see it coming. You're killing off the other main characters from the originals. Have some balls, but if you have to keep him alive, let us and Rey believe that he's dead for a while. She ends up fighting Kylo and believing she's evil, but this doesn't make any sense because she's already aware that Chewie is alive at this point. Believing she murdered him would have fit perfectly with the stupid twist later. It's just a massive wasted opportunity. And how did Chewie even get away on a second ship anyway? They really didn't spot it. She goes to the island to copy Luke and wants to die there alone because she believes that she's evil, but it doesn't work because she knows she didn't kill him.
What are you most afraid of?
Myself.
Oh, and have another subplot of Poe's ex-girlfriend and learn that he used to be a smuggler, which explains all the stuff he's already proven he can do, but Finn needed an answer to for some reason. She doesn't have many scenes, but it's enough for me to say they're trying to get us to give a shit about Poe, who hasn't been interesting in 3 movies. Hell, she has them at gunpoint and then just moments later decides she trusts him. So Rey finds out that she is the granddaughter of Palpatine. You know, the guy who created Anakin Skywalker and is therefore Anakin's father, which makes him Kylo's great-grandfather, and then they... Ew! Not only is this another forced rehash of The Empire Strikes Back, but it doesn't work when the directors have bickered over the story for 3 films and there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just out of pure desperation. They didn't know what else to do. People didn't like The Last Jedi. Oh, shit, what can we do? Oh, no, let's just grab anything from the originals that people like. Luke, Han, bring all them back. Yoda, Palpatine, fuck it. Daisy Ridley admitted that this wasn't planned out at all.
At the beginning, there was toying with like an Obi-Wan connection, and then it really went, there were like different versions, and then it really went to that she was no one. And then it came to episode 9, and JJ pitched me the film and was like, oh yeah, Palpatine's granddaddy. And I was like, awesome. And then 2 weeks later, he was like, oh, we're not sure. So it kept changing. So then even I filming and I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be.
It was also established earlier that Rey can float, so why does she need this skimmer to get across the ocean? And why does she need to climb the damn Death Star? The evil scene looks cool and everything, but it's so short and only for the trailer, so it's ultimately pointless. And after 76 minutes of them trying to find the fucking Wayfinder, Kylo destroys it anyway. In fact, Luke shows up at the 90-minute mark and literally tells her she doesn't need it.
You have everything you need.
So what was the flying cock-sucking point in the first hour and a half of the movie? You wasted our time, you pieces of shit! The saber fight by the ocean is pretty cool, I like that, but it leads to another issue. Princess Leia's death. Firstly, all of Leia's scenes are so awkward because they were deleted footage from The Force Awakens and you can tell. Almost all of her lines are short and clearly edited out of context. I get it, Carrie Fisher sadly passed away and they couldn't do much, but there are ways around it. Leia manifests across the galaxy and literally just says Ben's name and that drains her energy and that's it. She's dead. All you had to do was get a sound-alike to give him a motherly speech. More dialogue than just his name. It could have been so much more powerful, but instead she says Ben, it distracts him, he gets stabbed. Rey feels bad that Leia died and then heals him and now they're mates. Yeah, Rey steals his ship. No idea how Kylo or the others get out, okay, but alright. And then Han shows up and Kylo is a hero now. This was speculated for a while that you don't know if it's really Han or if it's inside his head. But that makes no sense because all the ghosts are clearly holograms. Han isn't. But also, Han isn't a Jedi. So how can he be a ghost? It's clearly inside his head.
I miss you, son.
After you stabbed me in the gut for taking away your toys.
Dad.
I know.
Alright, that was a nice throwback. The stuff with Rey and Luke is just repeating Return of the Jedi again. Rey is ashamed of her bloodline. She thinks she's evil. Your mentor is Luke! His dad was Darth Vader! Come up with something new!
Because you're a Palpatine. Leia knew it too.
And you didn't tell her because... you Obi-Wan'd her ass. It's weird because Luke catches the lightsaber, so clearly these ghosts can interact with the real world, so why don't they just help in the war? It could have been the coolest fight scene in Star Wars history by bringing back all the Jedi ghosts to fight. That would have been amazing.
A Jedi's weapon deserves more respect.
Is that why you chucked it off the cliff? And Luke literally disregards everything from the last movie. Just fuck it! Fuck it all!
I'm never leaving this place. I'm doing what you did.
I was wrong.
At least George Lucas, as crazy as he was, didn't give in and quit on the prequels. No matter what the fans said, he stuck to his guns. He does finally bring the ship out of the ocean, which is a nice throwback, and of course it just so happens to still be fully functional after 30 plus years underwater. I think they handled Leia's funeral respectfully enough, but the rest, no, I just think it was wasted. It is heartbreaking to see Chewbacca break down after all these years with her though. Of course Lando shows up and he is literally there as they go over the briefing for the attack. You know, the same attack we've seen so many times before! How do the Empire or the First Order keep falling for the same shit? It's literally the same plan! But then it's supposed to be a shocking reveal when Lando shows up with the cavalry. Why are you surprised? He was there when you planned it. It looks fine, but we're 9 movies in. It's nothing new, and that's the problem. There's only so many times you can show us the same explosions and space battles before it grows tedious.
All you want is for me to hate Blackwood.
You've been hating on Kylo for quite a while. And Snoke. And Palpatine. Of course, Kylo shows up to save the day and kills these guards. No idea why, as they have no idea he's turned good yet, so he can just walk right by them, but alright. It is a pretty cool moment though, as Rey somehow force hands him the blue saber. That was nice. I struggle to give a shit though when we know Palpatine can just come back from the dead anyway.
The life force of your bond. A dyad in the Force.
What fucking bond? The last film, Rey hated him for 75% of it, then was like, maybe he's good. Nah. And this movie, they've just been fighting the whole time. Then she sympathised with him because his mummy croaked. There's no fucking bond. It's the easiest relationship to set up ever. They're both from evil roots. They can bond over that, but there's no implication. I can't even believe I'm gonna say this, but Anakin and Padme had a better relationship. At least there was something to show that they were involved. You could tell one of them liked the other. Here, there's nothing. They end up smooching and it comes right out of nowhere. There's been no indication they're even remotely into each other. They do have a nice moment with all the voices of the Jedi rooting her on, but it's so random and only mentioned in one scene earlier.
Starting to think it isn't possible to hear the voices of the Jedi who came before.
Bring back the balance, Rey, as I did.
I don't think you did, Anakin. I don't mind Rey becoming a Skywalker, but shouldn't Kylo and Anakin have been there too? Would have been cool. But now that I think about it, doesn't it take away the entire message? The whole point is that your bloodline doesn't define you. It doesn't matter where you come from. You're you. Your actions matter. But fuck that. Rey's ditching the Palpatine name and is now a Skywalker. It's completely contradictory. The movie is a mess. It has nice visuals, and I wasn't really bored during it, but it's lazy, it's contrived, it makes no sense, it's all over the place, it's ridiculous. The originals felt like an actual trilogy. The adventure and story flowed smoothly and came to a satisfying conclusion. Hell, even the prequels, say what you want about them, they actually felt like a trilogy that was thought out. But here, it's the equivalent of picking 2 children to work on a school project together, but they constantly argue over whose idea to use. It's a complete mess. It is all over the place. I've seen all 3 films and I still have no idea what the hell just happened. The franchise as a whole has an amazing lore and so many characters to love over time. Some movies are great, some not so much, but it's a world we all love to become immersed in. Regardless of which ones you enjoy and which ones you hate, we all love Star Wars. And I thank you for taking this trip with me to a galaxy far, far away.